Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson along with Jen Foster. Hey Jen.
Hey everyone.
Well, we've got another great show for you. Today, we are going to learn a bunch of stuff. If you've ever been interested in being a speaker, becoming a speaker, if you speak at your business, speak in front of business people, and you want to know how to focus on your audience and how to address your audience, how to focus on your message, how to have confidence when you speak, well, you've come to the right place today. We've got John Rayner here. He's going to tell us how to do all of those things. Plus, he's got a bonus for us, how to 3 to 7x your business this coming year. So first of all, remember to subscribe to our podcast. We love when you subscribe. We love to have you tell us what's going on and what you think about us, and make sure you share it to everybody because we have such great content every week. We make you inspired, motivated, and guess what? You get to be a little smarter every week. And if you're thinking about writing a book, or even if you've written a book and you want to be a #1 bestseller, come and look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com. You can go to the contact section and fill out a survey form right there. And we're happy to take a look and see if you qualify for us to publish your book and make you a #1 best-selling author. Okay, I have to do one little braggy thing. We just did a launch yesterday, all right? And Lauren Golden with her book, Free Mama, she was new release in 25 hot new releases in 25 categories in 4 countries, and 13 best-selling, #1 best-selling in 3 countries. So in 13 categories, she was a #1 best-selling author. So get that, #1 in 13 categories and 25 hot new releases. Yeet, that was just so great. So congratulations, Lauren. Look up her book, Free Mama. All right, we're going to get off to John Rayner. John, tell us about yourself and how you got started speaking. You speak all over the world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Melanie, firstly, thank you for the introduction. And both to you, Melanie and Jen, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. So in light of public speaking, back in the day, I started my career in engineering. Dad made me do it. But I was not a great engineer, and it certainly wasn't my forte. And so I found a wonderful forte called marketing and sales, and that just seemed to sit well with me. But the challenge I had, Melanie and Jen, is that whilst I was progressing in my corporate sales career, even to the point in my early 20s of national sales successes, like for months and months back to back, I had a problem. I was very good at doing the one-on-one, maybe just a few people around the table, but I found that when there was maybe more than 8, 10, 12 people in a room, or if I was asked to basically lead a conversation, facilitate a meeting, and or speak at the company's annual conference, because I kept winning salesperson of the month, etc., I would freeze. I would absolutely freeze, and my confidence left me, and I would not sleep for days. And this is, again, 20-something years ago, giving my age away. So what happened is I went on a quest. I discovered that upon lots of research, I'm an avid student. And so upon lots of research with regards to successful people in business and life in general, I found that a common thread amongst many, but a common thread is that these male and females had the capacity, and it's not just about nature, it's about nurture as well. They had the capacity, having learnt the art and the skill of public speaking and persuasion. So for now 20-something years, that became a personal pursuit of mine. And so in conclusion, my personality is jumping with both feet. When I was scared of heights, I thought I'd overcome that by way of parachute jumping solo. And so what I did with public speaking was just basically take a microphone wherever I could find one, and whether the group was 8 people, 80 or 800, I just kept speaking and speaking and made ridiculous mistakes, terrible errors, embarrassed myself in ways I don't even want to repeat. But it was a wonderful process because that ironed out the creases to the point now where I've been blessed to speak with Fortune 500 companies, other clients across 15 countries or more, with collectively more than 80,000 people.
Awesome. So what you're really saying is, if someone wants to be a public speaker, they need to practice. And you are the expert at it, and you've written a book about it. How to have that confidence, how to be a public speaker, and with speaking in over 15 countries with to 80,000 people, over 80,000 people, then you have that expertise. So tell us a little bit about your book and some of the things that you teach in there.
Well, Jen, in terms of the book, it's really just a summary. It's a very easy read. One can download for free in a digital format at johnrayner.tv. That's johnrayner.tv. And the reason I like to give that away is simply because I found that over the years, as soon as I mention to people that I'm a public speaker and I get paid for that, a lot of people, especially business leaders, you know, their ears start listening more so, because I think most people are aware, whether it be entrepreneurs, business leaders, managers, most people are aware of the lack of confidence that humanity has. I call it a global epidemic. Some research, depending on what you see, says that the fear of speaking in public, we know. Some say it's the first, the second, the third. It doesn't matter. Let's say it's in the top 10 of human fears. So I think the first thing is for people to understand that when one is asked to do a public speech or a presentation, to be honest, Jen and Melanie, I wish we could eliminate the word public speak, or the words public speaking and the word presentation from the English dictionary, because I think it seems to set us up for, or set many people up for failure. I just love the word conversation, similar to what we're doing now. And when people realize that if they turn the spotlight, real or imaginary, when they've got the microphone or they're leading a room to speak, when people realize as soon as they turn the microphone, the spotlight away from between their eyes and put it on their audience by way of relevant questions and just engaging people in conversation, I've seen people's, including my own, I've seen people's confidence go through the roof almost overnight. This is not something that requires 20 years to fine tune. I've seen people, as soon as they change their philosophy and their conditioning about public speaking or presentations, then confidence rises. The book was also written because too many people would constantly contact my first company, effectivecommunication.com.au, which still operates in Asia Pacific. But so many people would ask me the same questions. You know, what are the keys to great public speaking or presentations or conversations? So I put it into an easy format. I think it's like 50 to 60 pages. And again, that can be downloaded at johnrayner.tv.
Awesome. I love that. We tell our clients all the time when they don't know, they're like, I want to write a book, but I don't know what to write. And we say, what are those frequently asked questions that people ask you all the time? That's what goes in your book, so that people can know those things. So you have to keep repeating yourself over and over again.
Yeah, and I love how you said it's not a speech, it's not public speaking, it's a conversation. So if you start thinking about it as a conversation, it's much less intimidating. Let's go into some of those strategies that you have of really, so what should someone do to really find out and know their audience and hone in on that? What do you walk them through in the book and in person about figuring out their audience?
Well, it's a good question, Melanie, because even though it should be vanilla or plain, or this should be childlike, knowing one's audience, it fascinates me. You know, let's just say, for example, we've been working on a pitch as part of a tender process, and one of my clients has to go and pitch for, I'll use construction, $350 million worth of work. My company's been brought in on many occasions to can I use the word advise or consult on a specific message or a specific presentation where my clients, my client would have to represent their company and their proposal amongst obviously a decision panel, or even more so, more people. But it's fascinating to me, and I'll give you one example. I flew down once from Sydney to Melbourne. Joe, the CEO of a very large international company, if I said the name, you'd know it. So these are all intelligent people, very educated. Joe called me and said, John, can you fly down to Melbourne? I need your help. I said, well, Joe, what's happening? He said, we're presenting to a major bank next Wednesday. It was a week away. We're presenting to a major bank, and should we succeed, it will represent approximately 18% of our revenue for the next year. And with a company this size, 18%'s a reasonable chunk of change. So anyway, flew down. There was Joe, who's the CEO, and then he had 9 of his direct reports, leaders of different departments. And so sat down and I asked the team, I said, look, we're presenting next week. You're conversing with the bank next week here in Melbourne, Australia. And I said, so what is it that we're going to say to them? What is it that needs to be addressed? And Jen and Melanie, this is no exaggeration, I had A4, notepad, simple pen, and for the next hour and 20 minutes, all I did was listen to them tell me what they think the bank needs to hear. Bottom line, remember, I knew Joe well. I had the liberty to do this. I said at the end, I said, hey, this is amazing information, incredible insights. Everybody thought they had to say something and present something. I said, but where did you assess this? Where did you analyze this? How have you done your reconnaissance with regards to what's important to the bank, as opposed to you bright sparks, intelligent ones? I'm being facetious. I didn't say that on the day. So anyway, they said words like, look, we served banking for a number of years. We know what we're doing. The bottom line is they hadn't gone to that specific bank, and they hadn't contacted the 4 people who would be part of the decision panel within the bank to ask some simple questions before preparing, before constructing, before arriving, before delivering. So I took my 6 pages, double side, 6 pages of A4 notes. And remember, this is the typical human psyche. As soon as we put under pressure that we have to speak or we have to say something, we typically go internal. I'm talking about the untrained speaker. We go internal. It's the way the brain works. And we start to want to prove ourselves and make sure that we're the most intelligent in the room. The great thing, Jen and Melanie, as a speaker, all we are is facilitators of conversation and key messages. And when people get that, we don't have to be the most intelligent in the room, but we have to be the best facilitator, whether there's 1 person or 1,000. So anyway, I kindly ripped up the pieces of paper because I needed to get my message across quickly. We only had 1 week. I said, listen, great information, but it's absolutely irrelevant and useless. Remember, I knew the CEO, so I didn't lose my client. And anyway, they looked shocked and offended, hurt. I thought I had to start doing some rejection counseling. But bottom line is I said, look, can we please stop considering what we're going to say and instead consider what we're going to ask prior to the event? Really simple. We agreed on 5 questions. We targeted the assistants, or the 4 different assistants of these 4 bank directors. And Jen and Melanie, within 2 hours, 3 of the assistants had got back to us via email or phone. 1 was traveling. And basically, they gave us all the ammunition required, because at the end of the day, I had an hour and 20 minutes worth of information and 6 pages of A4, and I don't write large. It was small font. And at the end of the day, the bank said, we just want to understand 3 things. There's room for other conversation, but we just want to understand 3 things. They wanted to understand payment terms, because it was a 3-year service level agreement. They wanted to understand inventory, Does this particular company have enough to manage the banking clients? You know, these FPOS machines or payment machines. My client's a producer of and a maintainer of those. And the last thing they wanted to understand was, was customer service. Because when the bank client, i.e. a retailer, calls and says, my machine's not working, they actually don't go to the bank, they go to my client, should they be successful. And so we were able to, it was simple, Jen and Melanie, we were able to construct a message for conversation, which was completely relevant, tangible, and outcomes driven based on what the audience desired.
Right. And like you said, keeping it simple and not going to that place of, oh, we got to get this wonderful speech and this wonderful presentation that they're going to say yes to. It's like, yeah, but you're going to give them a presentation that they don't want to hear. So what are those simple questions? I love that, how you said, just think of those simple questions of what are the questions you can ask them so you know what they need.
Sure. And Jen, in the book, you know, I have like 30 fire starters, meaning 30 different questions one can ask. And, you know, if we put our heads together, we can probably find 300, but the 30 is a good starter. But look, as an absolute basis, the reason why anyone would ask you or I or any of your listeners on this podcast, the only reason we're asked to go and speak or converse or facilitate a conversation is because the audience obviously feels or they sense that we have something of value to share. So of course the first question would be, well, in the time frame that's allowed, whether it be 30 minutes or 3 hours or all day or 3 days, the first question would be, well, why am I here? Or what's most important to you about my time with you during this event? Or what are the 1, 2, or 3 things keeping you up at night regarding this particular topic? Or the questions can go on and on and on, but basically it's always around what the audience desires.
So, John, you've worked with all these Fortune 500 companies, and I teased this a little bit at the beginning, so we're getting closer to the end. Tell us your secrets to 3 to 7x your business.
So Melanie, with regards to 3 to 7x business, because it's part of, obviously, confident speaking and facilitation is part of that, but now we're moving more towards business strategy. And so, look, it's very, very simple. I say to people now in business forums, 2 things I say consistently. Number 1 is that there's never been a better time or an easier time to start or manage or grow business. And I say that sincerely. I mean, I started my first business now about 20 years ago when everything was done with yellow pages, white pages, big old cellular mobile phone, and pretty much business cards, etc. So in other words, my ability to expose my company, its services, and the value that's provided was very limited. Then, of course, it got very exciting with email because we could do some blasting, but that's limited for obvious reasons. So now, with digital platforms, what my team does for clients, we work with Fortune 500 companies on leadership and communication and branding and marketing and sales. But Jen and Melanie, what we've been doing more recently with Rayner.tv is attracting clients who are already in business and generating $1 million in revenue or more per year. And what we are able to do with them, because typically the founder or the manager of the business, or managers plural, are so caught up in the day-to-day. What we find is that a lot of companies need much better branding. They need much better positioning. They need much better perception of authority and influence. So whether it be an individual who wants to build a personal online brand, or whether it be a company that's, as I mentioned, already generating $1 million in revenue or more, what we do is we don't just go in and consult, which is basically give a lot of ideas which hardly get applied. My team do everything from the strategy with the client in terms of their overall marketing, especially digital marketing. Then we brand or rebrand where required. Then we position. Then we make sure that the client's set up using social media, using a website, using sales landing pages, anything digital, to ensure that everything's automated, including customer service, prospect inquiries, sales, etc. So the long and the short, we help companies who are smaller but already doing well to 3 to 7x within 18 months, purely by way of digital assets, including digital marketing and automated sales and customer service, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great.
So the key is really overlooking your digital. Companies should pay attention to their branding and making sure the branding is cohesive, and the automation of everything, which I think is so important to streamline because that saves time. So if you think about that for your business, everyone, or even your personal life, if you're streamlining and using automation. I was at a conference yesterday and I had this app called Camcard. So everyone's like, what are you doing? And I just snapped it. It takes the business card, it puts it right into your phone, into your contacts, and you can share it. I can share it with a team member and they can make sure they're on our email list. So it's things like that automate your business and save time. That's so smart, as well as making sure you're using all the digital and social media that's free today to make sure you're optimizing that. And like you say, the company's owners are so busy. So you need to outsource it to someone like John's company, or, find other places that you can outsource things that you don't do as well yourself to make sure that it's maximizing that. Very smart advice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, again, John, tell us, what's the website they can go to download the free book?
Yeah, so Jen, if your listeners visit John Rayner, JOHNRAYN for Nelly ER, johnrayner.tv. There are 3 components or valuable components. One is the download of the book, Confident, Powerful, and Persuasive Public Speaking. The second is obviously engage myself to speak at a conference or an event that your listeners might have. And lastly, of course, if one's interested in boosting their business significantly in the next 18 months, then of course my team take people by the hand, and we carry the load to do so.
Awesome. Well, we'll put that link up at the bottom of the screen for those watching on YouTube. And for those of you who are listening, you can go to johnrayner.tv and get that free downloadable book and all the other resources John provided.
And remember to subscribe to our podcast and share it with other people. And please leave us a note. We'd love to hear from you. And sign up for our Facebook, join our Facebook, follow us, like us at Elite Online Publishing. And if you'd like to write a book, you can go right there to eliteonlinepublishing.com and look us up and see if you qualify for us to publish your book and make you a #1 best-selling author internationally and in multiple categories. That's what we do best. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.
If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click free book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.